the heart, it has been discovered, has cells, about 40,000 cells in it that create a kind of neural network. And these cells are called sensory neurites. They're a very specific type of cell that normally is found in the brain. But our actual beating hearts have these 40,000 cells in them that are like brain cells, sensory neurites. And that word sensory, it tells you something, right? It means that the heart has the ability to sense. But what the heart doesn't have is the ability to like pass judgments or make assumptions or even certain types of analysis and synthesis, I would say. What the heart does is it processes experience directly. So, whatever experience we have, we analyze and synthesize it up in our head areas. And we're, oh, I am having this type of, I am driving my car down the road. But the heart doesn't know, I am driving my car down the road. The heart just knows I'm flowing, right? I am going like this and I'm in this space. Something like that, you know? And it's like, oh, yes, this is like the brain will tell the heart, oh, yes, this is the road, right? This space that you're experiencing, this feeling. But the heart knows the space, not in terms of, oh, this is Main Street. The heart knows the space based on the feeling that's in that place, that's in that particular portion of Main Street. Every few yards, there's like a different feeling associated with the land, with the laws of nature right on that spot. And so there was a time, of course, where within our cities and within our home areas, where this was not a built up town or city, it was a wild area. And the memories and the identity in the space it still exists as a feeling. That's why it can be sometimes difficult, I think, to fly like an airplane and fly from one city to another, because we pass over so much territory so quickly that even though the mind has no problem adapting or adjusting to that much shift, I find sometimes the heart has a little trouble adapting because there's so much information that was just kind of gleaned over, and the heart's like, but wait a minute, oh, there's a shift right there, oh, there's a transition, oh, we're going over a river. Bless the heart. The first thing for this session, for all of your beautiful hearts, is the neural network of the heart harmonizing with the neural network of all hearts. It's like a download. It's a download I see happening. There's something like, remember I was saying, like each little spot, you walk downtown and you're in one spot in front of a store, it's got its own feel to it. And then you walk to the front of the next store, it's got its own feel. Well, so do all the parts of the body, and so do all the structures in creation. And like there is a feel, there is a living presence associated with this neural network in the heart, with the sensory neurons. Like it's common, there's a feel that's common to all hearts. You could say it's the energetic blueprint on the level of consciousness that is responsible for the manifestation of the heart, the human heart. But it's not just humans. I mean, oh my goodness, animals have sweethearts too. Dogs have such, what would we call them? I don't want to say the word devotional, but like loyal. Dogs have such loyal hearts, don't they? They just love their masters so much, their owners, their family. I'm just looking at the upgrade taking place in these sensory neurites of the heart. Sensory neurites perceive our experience from their perspective. And what they're perceiving right now is the cosmic blueprint or the divine blueprint of their own nature. It's like the intelligence of the heart turns around and looks at itself. So we can perceive with our heads and our minds and our senses of perception up here, but we can perceive directly with our hearts. It's a very simple, very kind of like primordial way of seeing and knowing. And the first part of tonight's healing, I am seeing, by the way, I don't have a plan. I mean, I did write down that quote and I did write down sensory neurites so I wouldn't forget because it's a new word that I just learned. But this is lovely. That the sensory neurites of the heart, the ability, the capability of the heart to know folds in on its own nature. And for some of you, it might be easier to put the hands over the heart just to get that going. Those sensory neurites, they perceive reality as a field of energy signatures, as a field of structures of very abstract structures of consciousness, living presence within things, within all things, like everything has a living presence. You know, even my little pen here, like this is the pen that I use when I'm writing about stuff. And this is what it does in its life until the day it's out of ink. And I thank it for being with me and I toss it into the trash. Everything has life in it. Everything has a presence. Everything has like a kind of a soul in a way. Not like the human soul. The human soul is unique, right? But all things have their structure on the superficial level, and then they have their energy structure. And the heart knows the energy structure. And it is at that level, the level of the energy structure, that we encounter the seeds of illness and suffering. We also encounter the structures of good health. Like sometimes we wonder, right? You know, why one person is sick and somebody else is healthy, and you know, why? And the answer is that at that level of the living presence within the body, either the body is holding the resonance or the resonation of optimal health, or it's not. And the resonation of optimal health can exist in isolated areas, right? Like one area, like, oh, my shoulders are so healthy, but then some other area, maybe not so healthy or something like that. So the heart knows all of it. But what the heart knows most of all is it knows when it is safe. The heart knows the feeling of being safe and being able to trust the process, the healing process. This is so important. There are lots of things that when you look at the world through the heart, it looks like this ocean of these sort of nuanced feelings and expressions of life. It's like looking into the ocean, and there are all these different kinds of bizarre beings, and some of them are like half plant, half animal, and like it's just like it's so thick, you know. But the heart's discernment, this is the next part of what's happening. The heart first got a download. Oh, I can look at my own nature. And that forms a foundation for starting to be a little bit more discerning about what I see otherwise and around me. We're coming into the springtime. And in the springtime, the body, it's kind of like the body becomes a little warmer. And as it becomes a little warmer, it's all the systems and functions like the endocrine system and the lymphatic system and the immune system and like all these different systems, they kind of heat up. Even the digestive system, it kind of becomes a little more robust, a little bit more fiery like that. That gives rise to activation in the physical tissue of the body. And that activation causes purification. when all the tissues of the body become like a little more active, a little bit more infused with heat, the fire is purifying. It's like a subtle fire, and it washes through the tissues, and it starts to remove some of the toxins and impurities that tend to build up over the wintertime, especially, it's not uncommon for people to be a little bit less active when, particularly in the colder climates, right? As much as we love. Oh, thank you. Okay. Our friend who said the mountains behind me was referring to my picture. Sorry, I had to scroll down to see it. Oh, God bless you. Anyway, the point being that, thank you. Yeah, everything warms up. Just everything warms up a bit in the springtime. Now, when the tissues start to warm up, and the impurities that have gotten a little bit stuck in the tissues start to move a bit, and the body has to become discerning, right? Because we have to, as everything starts to move a little bit, we have to figure out like what is actually useful in my body and what is not useful in my body, and right, like which of this warmed up material should be eliminated and which should be kept, like that. So some discernment has to come in, and a lot of that discernment comes from the immune system. The immune system has cells whose job is to go around the body and kind of figure out what's what, to kind of like search around and go, oh, this looks like a virus that shouldn't be here. Oh, this cell doesn't look very healthy. I think it needs to be, eliminated or whatever. So a lot of the discernment comes from here in the thymus, which is right essentially just behind my pendant, and right there, just at the bottom of my pendant, right there where the ribs stick out. And that level of discernment is connected to the intelligence in the heart area. Because when we talk about the eye of the heart, it's not just like I started out talking about sensory neurites, right? So yeah, sure, there's a neural network actually in the heart made of brain cells, essentially like equivalent of brain cells. But the eye of the heart is more subtle than that. It's even more profound than that. There is a living presence. There is a living presence in the chest, and it includes the type of discernment that's utilized by the immune system as well, and also the type of discernment that's used by the thyroid, because our thyroid gland, even if you don't, some people have had their thyroids removed or issues with the thyroid, but even if you don't have the tissue of the thyroid, you have the living presence of the thyroid still with your body. There are forms. The body has forms, and then the body has living presence within the form. And a surgeon can come cut out the piece, but the surgeon doesn't cut out the living presence. The living presence that was suffering, which is why the surgeon cut it out, undergoes a kind of transfiguration. Karma, a lot of karma is released when there's surgery like that. I'm just looking at the fortification. There's a fortification of the living presence in this part of the body for all of us, because even if you have all your organs, or you've never had surgery on the upper body anywhere, our souls are very old. And pretty much everybody at some point or another had some damage. This is a very vulnerable area of the body, isn't it? The neck and throat area is very vulnerable. And we tend to hold a certain amount of like feelings, a certain amount of, remember, this is the eye of the heart is like understanding reality within the context of feeling. But sometimes there's like a disconnect between that feeling and the head. So there can be a blockage or a buildup of those feelings up in this neck throat area. And if it's too much, or it goes on for too long, or it doesn't get resolved and it doesn't remains blocked, then that can lead to a physiological experience of a problem in this area. And if we ignore it too much, it can even lead to something that is life-threatening or cause of death. So we all have a little bit memory patterns and impressions in this part because it's so vulnerable and it's so delicate, right? Of all the parts of the body, other parts of the body are just like our shoulders are more big and strong, right? But this part is kind of little and delicate. The micromeridians running from the fingers and through the hand. There's a big chakra in the middle of the hand, and then the micromeridians running through the fingers. There are more running through the thumb and the middle finger than the others. So we can just here at the clavicles without touching. The middle fingers go up behind the ears because behind the ears, we are literally touching our vagus nerve. And a lot of those impressions, I'm telling you guys, a lot of those impressions are actually stored in the autonomic nervous system. And oh, it feels so good. Slowly, slowly. You don't touch. It's not like a massage like this where you dig into the tissues. No, no. It's the etheric energy that's coming out the tips of the fingers. It's actually going into the neck. It's going right in and it's touching the etheric level, or you could say the living presence of the autonomic nervous system. I don't know if any of you are doing this with me, but it totally gives me tingles every time. Absolutely beautiful. And just barely, like, just you can feel the energy shift. Oh, good. Other people are experiencing. Thank you for raising your hand, sweethearts. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, it's just so soothing. It's so soothing. And it really helps bring all the anxiety levels down. And the other thing it does is, of course, obviously, this is like we're using the energy in our hands to direct our attention into this area of our body to start to soothe that autonomic nervous system, which is the area that holds those impressions and memory patterns and past life experiences, trauma. Sort of soothes and cools it, but more than that, it's like it reminds, what we're doing is we're shining our light through our fingertips. You know, in the cartoons, the wizard goes and like, you know, like electrical energy comes out the ends of their fingertips or something like that. Like literally, this is actually what actually happens, is that we have energy that comes out the ends of our finger, little tiny chakras in the tips of our fingers, and we can bring that, we can use that, and what's coming out is awareness, pure perception coming out, going into that autonomic nervous system. And as we massage, what happens is we start to stir the energy in the neck. And as the energy in the neck stirs, it causes it to release the memory patterns and impressions and forms of stress that were caught or were burdening the tissues in that part of the body, left over from ever so long ago, ever so long. And the heart is producing qualities of compassion and love and mercy and recognition and adoration that are literally coming up. Meridians carry it up like that and down through the arms and out to the hands. So along with this awareness is also this sense of, I love Excuse me, I love you and I'm here to help you. And I want to give this moment to my body to help it feel better. The love actually colors or creates a context for the energy. It's like it flavors the energy coming out the tips of the fingers so that that energy supports trust in the area that's being massaged. Does that make sense? So it's easier for the body to heal when the body feels safe and trusting. The love is what does that. That's the energy that comes from the heart center that goes up and colors the awareness as it's coming out the fingertips and supports this part of the body being able to relax and feel safe and comfortable and like, oh, this is something good for me. I can lean into the transformation that it's creating in the tissues of my body. Thanks for giving that a shot.